Hey everybody, welcome back. It's time for the final game between Incontrol and Dimaga in the HD World Tournament, currently in the round of 8. And so far, both these players have duked it out. It is 1-1 in this series. I have to say, brilliant play by Incontrol in the last game. He basically feigned a 3-gate expand. Everything to Dimaga said it was 3-gate expo. I mean, the drone scout from Dimaga was brilliant. He kept it alive for so long. I almost wonder if Incontrol, maybe he actually didn't want to kill the drone. Maybe he wanted the drone to remain alive, and that's why he didn't chase it down with the sentry, and he left the sentry at the ramp. Maybe he wanted to leave it alive just so Dimaga felt like it was going to be a 3-gate expansion. He wanted to leave it alive so that Dimaga could see the 2 extra gateways being put down and all the sentries. Maybe, if that was the case, that was a even better play by Incontrol. That just sparks of beauty and imagination and creativity on so many levels. And if that was the case, bravo to Incontrol. Even if it wasn't, I really like that attack by Incontrol, just exploiting this nasty timing window that a Zerg player just never expects. You don't expect a move out like that. I mean, nowadays some Protoss players are moving out when they grab their 3-gate nexus. They do move out with some of their sentries and, you know, do a little bit of damage. But to do that, and on top of that, throw down a 4th warp gate, so essentially making it a delayed 4-gate, that was just amazingly well played. So really nice by Incontrol. We are now here in game number 2, and it looks like Dimaga has decided to play on Test Bug, Icy Cup Test Bug. I already have the pylon blocking the hatchery here, but Icy Cup Test Bug is actually one of the maps in the HD World Tournament ladder pool that hasn't been used all too often. In fact, I think this is the first time. I think this is the first time that it's been used in the tournament so far. So, thank you, Dimaga, for bringing this map back and letting some of the viewers out there and myself watch a game on this map. Just want to talk a little bit about it. It is 3 bases. It's 1 base down here to the bottom left. Ooh, probe almost getting picked off there. 1 base down here to the bottom left. 1 base over here. And then the 3rd base is up here. Now, the tile sets are completely different, which is interesting. We have the grass tundra up here, so I guess it rains over here. And then down here, we just have the tile set, and over here, we kind of have the twilight set. So really interesting kind of map design. Also, we have a humongous Xel'Naga, actually we have 3 Xel'Naga watchtowers, each one covered by rocks outside of each of the spawn locations. So those watchtowers can be controlled once you kill off the rocks surrounding the Xel'Naga watchtower. It looks like because the pylon did block off this hatchery, we do have Dimaga coming out with his different kind of build, which is the hatchery down at 21 or 23 supply, it looks like this time around. And we do have 2 more Zerglings coming out. So that is actually more Zerglings than most Zerg players make. And maybe Dimaga is thinking that this time around I'm going to make additional forces just in case Incontrol tries that kind of tricky build again. And ooh, nice little drone drill right here. You can do this as a Zerg, Protoss, or Terran. You just select your scouting drone and right-click on a mineral patch, and it will drill its way past any mobile units, such as a Zealot that's blocking the ramp. So really nice right there. Gets a scout in, but I don't think Dimaga saw the gateway over here. I'm almost 100% sure, yeah. So Dimaga doesn't see the gateway. Dimaga right now is operating in the dark, and that has got to be 10 times scarier than last game. Last game, Dimaga was operating with pretty much the best intelligence you can get. He had the drone alive for so long, he saw the 3 gateways, and he still lost. So this time around, he's got to be super scared, and the Zergling scout gets picked off as well, so he has absolutely no idea what is going on inside of Incontrol's base. And this is scary for a Zerg player. So he's going to try his best to get a scouting unit in, but time and time again, it is deflected by Incontrol's sentries and zealots. And you got to remember, this looks exactly like the 3-gate expand. But Dimaga knows that Incontrol is capable of just 4-gating and pushing out with all of his units. So This is very, very scary right now for Dimaga. In fact, if we go back to base, Dimaga has a Roach Warren and he has 5 Roaches coming out. Wow. So, Dimaga here is obviously very concerned about the potential of a 4-gate push. And right now, what Dimaga needs to do is he needs to scout this Nexus. He unfortunately has no Overlord around. He just has a Zergling. The Zergling is not going to be able to get in there and scout the Nexus, most likely. And that is bad, because right now you guys can see Dimaga has 2 Spine Crawlers coming up. He has all these Roaches. This is mineral invested that could have been invested into drones. Dimaga's normal playstyle is droning up, but this time around he's invested into all these Spine Crawlers and all these Roaches. I do apologize, I have myself not set on busy, so I forgot right there, but Dimaga has invested into all these attacking forces, and what he needs to do is scout this Nexus, which he has just done. So now that he's scouted it, he knows, okay, wow, I need to push out right now. I need to do some damage with these Roaches, because these could have been drones, and now they're just attacking units that are chilling at the front of my base, so I have to push out. I have scouted the Nexus, and now you guys can see that Harvester difference, 31 under 22. So wow, Dimaga really knows that he is in a pretty bad spot here, and he's actually making 14 Zerglings, so I really like this. You know, if you're going to push out, go balls to the wall and make Zerglings, and let's try to bust this ramp down, or, well, it's not a ramp, but let's try to bust this choke point down, and I really like this strategy. And now he's actually dropping into building drones. So he's basically feigning the all-in aggression and then dropping back into a macro style play. I really like this. Gonna push in. 2 force fields blocking the ramp, blocking the choke just a little bit, narrowing it down. More force fields getting laid down as well. There is a photon cannon in the back, and Dimaga here actually not too bad of a position. He can fall his Roaches back, and all he's doing right now is just wasting the sentry's force fields and keeping that energy low. And he's actually going to fall back now, so he is not going to commit, losing some of his forces, but I like the exchange right there for 2 reasons. He has depleted a lot of the energy on these sentries, and reason number 2, he has been allowed to drone up, so he's now building a ton of drones in the background. In fact, he has basically caught up to the Protoss and now just beaten the Protoss in terms of drone count. So brilliant play, and now he is going to go for the gold, which I do have to remind you guys has rich Vespene Geysers. These provide double the gas benefit over a single Vespene Geyser, so that is actually a really nice expansion to get if you're the Zerg, because obviously a lot of the Zerg tech tree towards the mid lane game relies heavily on gas. You can easily tech up to Broodlords, you can go to Mutas, you can go to Infestors, which are wildly popular in today's metagame. So all of these things really do help if you're going to go for this rich Vespene gas, which is really only featured on a few maps, such as this one, Icy Cup Test Bug. So it looks like Incontrol here, it seems like back at base, he is pretty much just going for mass warp gate here. I think he's going to throw down maybe 1 more warp gate. Oh, he does have a robotics facility, so he may mix in with his army maybe a Colossus towards the mid to late game. He might get actually Immortals because he sees the Roaches on the field. That would be a pretty smart idea as well. But he is getting the obs out first, and right now his strategy is just to build up, get a large army, and then move out once the Protoss ball is safe and comfortable and big. And he may actually wait for the armor to finish. It looks like he is going to wait for armor as he's chrono boosting that right now. He already has 1 weapon. So this Protoss ball really is going to be really scary for Dimaga to deal with. And now it looks like both these players are destroying the rocks, overlooking their Zanaga tower, so smart idea there, just to get better scouting. Interestingly, Dimaga has not grabbed the gold. This is very strange, considering Dimaga's normal playstyle is just macro, and after that feign and all-in, I thought for sure he was going to go for Eco. I thought he was going to grab the gold, but it looks like he is going to make some kind of a timing attack here with Tunneling Claws and +1 weapons and +1 Carapace. Ooh, careful right there. Incontrol moving out across the map onto the Zerg creep. Actually, with that obs, he was able to pick off a lot of the tumors and recede the creep just a little bit, but wisely falling back, not going to commit. Dimaga is just waiting with 2 different control groups of Roaches and Zerglings, and was waiting to surround and pincer in the Protoss army. Right now, it looks like Incontrol is waiting. He has now +1. He has now gotten +1 armor, and he is waiting for his Colossus and his Immortals to come out before he commits to an attack. He's also got Protoss pylons going up around the map, just barely in range of these roaches. Dimaga, is he going to see it? He saw the probe for just a second there, but he is not going to... Oh, yeah, he saw it. He's such a good player. Of course he saw it. And actually, I think because he touched the watchtower, he might have saw it. So he is going to pick off the pylon, and he is going to finally grab his gold. That was very delayed. And Incontrol, meanwhile, is like, whoa, why can't I get my Nexus here? And that's because there is a little hidden unit hiding underneath the ground. And Incontrol finally bringing all of his army, says, I need to kill the Zergling. And so he picks it off. Poor little guy. An order from the Overmind to burrow yourself under the place where the Protoss is guaranteed to grab his third. That's just such a menial existence. So sad. And this Zergling too, his brother, is gonna die eventually if Incontrol at some point in this game decides to grab his fourth. But yeah, Incontrol grabbing his third now. I like that both players grabbing their third, but Dimaga is really not overpowering in economy as he was in game number 1. So that's a little scary to me. He does have a ton of roaches though, and Incontrol doesn't really have that many immortals. He only has one here, ladies and gentlemen, which isn't good. The Colossus is not really the best unit against all these roaches, especially when they have Burrow. And wow, Dimaga actually pushing the Protoss army back to the natural, now leaving a lane exposed to actually run up here and forces the cancel on the Nexus. Incontrol there. I'm surprised he didn't fight a little harder for that Nexus. He has now lost it, and that is really, really bad. Losing this Nexus, delaying the third expansion for that much longer, and you have to remember, this is the reason why Incontrol lost game number 1. He basically canceled his Nexus over and over again, the fourth Nexus, and never allowed himself to get the expansions he needs to continue into the late game. So this could be bad. He does have a Dark Shrine coming up, so he is going to try to go for some DT shenanigans, I would assume. I don't think he's going to morph them into Archons, but you never know. He did make Archons in game number 1, so we'll see what happens. It looks like he is going to get his Nexus up once again, and Dimaga still does not have a fourth base coming up. At this point, 16 minutes in, 90% of all Zergs that even I would have a fourth hatchery going up at this point in the game, especially if I have not been harassed all day long. It looks like there is a burrowed Zergling here, but oh, so sad. It was just barely outside of the range of the Nexus that was coming up. Incontrol is going to pick it off regardless, though. It looks like, I don't know how he saw it. Oh, I guess it wasn't burrowed. So anyways, here comes Dimaga. He's coming across the middle of the map thinking now, okay, it's time to push out. I just finished +2/+2, and I do have a ton of roaches. It is 192 supply to 141. You guys can keep a tab on that supply count right there. And Dimaga actually burrowing under the force fields. Incontrol quickly laying down a second line of force fields, which basically is like a trench line, forcing the roaches to continue their burrowed movement to get closer and closer to the Protoss army. Incontrol here, falling back ever more, laying down more force fields. And Dimaga says, okay, that's too deep in. I don't want to go that deep in, but now I can fall back and pick off the Nexus. Once again, if Incontrol cancels here, then I do not see him advancing any further into this game, and he cancels the Nexus. And Incontrol has essentially starved himself into 2 bases. At 18 minutes into this game, a Protoss player needs his third expansion. He's basically operating off of 1 base right now, and things are looking quite grim. Unless these Dark Templar can do some kind of damage, which I don't know if they're going to be able to do much. Here they go, right into the gold expansion, starting their slice and dicing. And it looks like Dimaga quickly burrows his drones. I was expecting that. Very smart. And these DTs are not going to be able to kill off any more drones, because almost certainly we have a Spore Spinecrawler defense going up at, yep, we already have Spores and Spines over here, and Spores and Spines going up right here. So that's pretty much it for the Dark Templar harass, and as the moments tick away, it seems more and more certain that Dimaga is going to take this game, and he's going to move on to the semifinals, and Incontrol is going to get knocked out. I just don't see a scenario where Incontrol is going to be able to take this game towards the late game. And it almost seems like Incontrol gets a little flabbergasted towards late game scenarios. And granted, he is playing against Dimaga. Dimaga is one of the best late game Zergs in the world. So you can't really, discredit Incontrol for that. He's certainly a very talented Protoss player, but things are looking very grim. Here comes Dimaga. He still has those that massive Roach army, now supplemented with an Overlord, just to see the Dark Templar, obviously, and he is making a couple of changelings to scout the map. He's going to scout this northern side and realize no hatchery or no nexus there. And, a little bit of lag here. And Incontrol now trying to sneak a bottom side expansion, but wisely the something actually saw this nexus, I'm not sure what, but forcing the cancel once again. And how smart is this? Incontrol, or excuse me, Dimaga is just moving across the map with roaches, forcing the cancels on the nexus. And once again we have that situation where Dimaga is placing the trade sanctions, the embargo, over Incontrol, and the Protoss player is not able to grab that necessary third. So essentially he's starving himself out here. These probes are about to undergo the arduous march. They're gonna starve to death. They're not gonna have any money whatsoever to feed themselves or feed this Protoss ball, which it needs money to survive for obvious reasons. Incontrol now has decided to make Archons to supplement his army. I mean, why not? The Dark Templar now are essentially useless with Overseers in this mix and nothing to really snipe the Overseer down, so I guess Archons are the best thing you can possibly do now. And Incontrol is basically gearing up for one massive push. Now, the nice thing here is Dimaga only has 3 bases, so surprisingly Dimaga never grabbed a 4th in this game. They are going to engage here. If Incontrol can snipe this hatchery down, he may have a chance. He is actually gonna, whoa, he may have enough to push Dimaga back. Dimaga getting a little miscontrolled here with his burrowed roaches and his unburrowed roaches. Falling back with his roaches once again. Incontrol, pick off this hatchery and you've got a pretty good shot in this game, and he is gonna go straight for the hatch. Remember, Dimaga has no backup hatchery. He's gonna have no mining. He does pick off those Colossus, which were completely vulnerable. Really nice play right there, Dimaga, by picking off those Colossus. And now I think the roaches should be strong enough to clear up this army, but now Dark Templar getting brought into the mix with no Overseer in sight. I think these Dark Templar may be able to kill off the rest of the Zerg army. Where is the Overseer? Dimaga is not making an Overseer right now. This is brutalizing his Roach army. Oh no, is Incontrol going to take this game and actually move on to the semifinals with one ginormous push, which has obliterated the Zerg players' basically gold hatchery, and Dimaga is now down to 1 base. Ladies and gentlemen, the situation has completely changed itself around. The Zerg player no longer nearly as far ahead as he was. It is still 110 supply to 83 supply, but now both players essentially on 1 base. With this natural getting pretty close to mined out. I have to say, Dimaga, if he loses this game, the only reason why is because he never opted to take a 4th and a 5th base. I mean, at this point, Dimaga should have had 5 bases fully up and operational, and by limiting himself only to 1 base, I feel like this is what is going to hurt him if he should lose this game. Incontrol is right back in the mix, and what a beautifully played push by Incontrol. I honestly thought he could not win this game, but now he has brought light back to the hopes of the Protoss player. North Korea is now has now invaded China and South Korea and Japan, and has become an imperial superpower, and now has a shot to take down Dimaga. Dimaga is pushing forward here with his roaches. He is fighting up against a ton of immortals, so that's a lot of immortals, which can slay roaches really easily, but there are enough roaches here to pick off the immortal army. And oh man, Dimaga here, I think, will be able to kill off this Nexus, and if he kills off this Nexus, then it is once again back to this bleak, desperate situation for Incontrol. I don't see him winning if he loses this Nexus here. And wow, nice little push by Dimaga. Even though Incontrol had a ton of immortals, just wasn't enough to deal with this many roaches that have +2/+2. And now, once again, Incontrol starved out to 2 bases, or excuse me, no bases pretty much. I mean, he got a little bit of mining out of these minerals, not these minerals, over here, these minerals. He got about 100 minerals a piece, so that's 8 nodes, so he got about 800 minerals and a little bit of gas, like 300 gas, so that translates into what? 8 zealots, maybe 2 stalkers, or maybe a couple of mortals. So very, very desperate situation, as now the probes have been forced to run for a very long distance and basically distance mine from this very distant expansion here. And with the Overlord just pooping away right there, that's got to be demoralizing for these probes, man. For Incontrol, he knows now that his distance mining has been revealed, and when you see someone distance mining, you know that they are in the most desperate of situations. I think Dimaga now realizes, okay, I have got this game in the bag. I just need to push out and finish it off. And he's got so many roaches here. I think he should have enough to pick off these Immortals. Nice focus firing here, taking them all down, and Incontrol calls GG. Good luck in the tourney. Well played. Dimaga taking away game number 3, and I have to say, one of the best games I've seen in quite some time. Really nicely well played by both these players. And Dimaga showing why he is one of the best Zergs in the world. He is now in the semifinals, ladies and gentlemen. And I hope you guys stay tuned for that. We're going to have the last round of 8 game coming up really soon. It is actually Sen versus Noni, I believe. Sen versus Tyler. So stay tuned for that, guys. HD signing out.